Alright, welcome back. Hope everyone's having a lovely day, a lovely night, wherever you're from. Enjoying the new Clay event right now. I'm actually liking the story a lot. And if you decided to pull it, I hope your pulls went well. And if you missed out on my pull video, go check it out. I thought it was actually a little funny. But before we get started, as always, I want to give a lovely shout out to the channel members on this channel. So thank you so much to Beebee, Simon, Dario, Chris, KingPresiden, Arttu, XN808, and Just Jacob. Thank you guys so much for choosing to support me even further. It means so much to me that you believe in me that much that you want to throw a few bucks my way, so I deeply appreciate it. And whether you're a subscriber or a channel member, thank you so much, because without you guys, we wouldn't have a community. And I mean, we hit 800 subs, which is insane to me. So thank you guys so much for that new milestone. You know, that's really, really awesome. So thank you guys. And for today's video, I actually feel like this one's going to be a little bit different because I really want to give my thoughts on Clay before I get to it than just getting straight to the shooting test. Because I have some things that I really want to talk about and some frustrations I have. So, you know, let's just get to it. And let's talk about Clay because she has so much wasted potential in my opinion. And it's such a shame because if they wanted to have a good bait banner before summer, I feel like they should have done better for her kit at least to not just be fully reliant on true damage. So let's get a good look at her kit. So let's just remember that despite her true damage stuff, her skill 1 involves, you know, increasing damage to projectiles, and then for her skill 2 it increases her attack from her caster's attack, and then that immune debuff. So just remember that's all we kind of get outside of the true damage. And the problem with this is that nobody really, you know, the enemy projectile thing doesn't really matter that much, honestly. And immunity debuffs you really only have to worry about for certain bosses like, I don't know, Ultra and like Crystal Chamber. And then the attack going up from the caster's attack is iffy at best because she is an SMG support, so we're not going to really see that much of a, you know, an attack increase from that. And the true damage aspect is already niche just because we really don't have to worry about it, because if you don't know, true damage is basically like when the raptures are like, you know, the defense of the raptures, you're able to like pierce it, I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure it's something similar to that. And you honestly don't really have to worry about it that much in this game. Like, I've never really had to worry about true damage at all, unless they started adding more mechanics that would actually make it, like, more apparent. But that's up to Shift Up. And the biggest problem with true damage is that a lot of people don't even know what it is or don't even care because we literally just have Laplace. Yes, you could argue that we have Freema because we have the treasure, but that's like a 1% thing that not everybody has. Because you're talking about a character that you need 2 copies for, get him to bond level 30, get an SR doll to level 15, and then not only that, then you have to get their treasure to like phase 2 or 3. So that's already a lot of grinding just to get her. So we mostly just have Laplace right now. And that's one of the annoying parts about this is that I don't understand why Shift Up continues to release the supports first, then the DPS. Because we have characters like Leona where she didn't really have a good place or anything like that. And then it makes sense when we have Privity Maid and then we had the new bunnies. It makes sense now. But for some reason they don't release the DPS first to make it more worthwhile when the supports come out. It doesn't make any sense. Now, we don't know if, you know, Summer will have more true damage units that can utilize her more. Who knows what Shift Up plans to do? That's up to them. But as it stands, it's just not a great kit, honestly. Like, even this investment of 444, I think it's too much. I honestly think she's not worth investing in at all. If you're actually going to invest in anything, just invest in her burst. So if you want, maybe go 447 and like that's it. And that's like a big reach in my opinion because I really don't see it that much helping. But it is what it is. I don't understand when they release these type of characters. And I know some people say like, well, they release these type of bad characters because it can help stop power creeping. And no, power creeping is already in this game. So that's already a bad like take. Like, we already have Crown, we already have Red Hood, and we have Scarlet Black Shadow, who are insane. And if you don't think Red Hood is, or Scarlet Black Shadow is, then I'm sorry, but Crown is probably the most broken unit in the game. The most broken Burst 2 ever. She helps everybody, and she is like the most recent Pilgrim we got, and she is broken. She's insane, I love her, but I'm not going to be blind and say that she's not broken, because she's very much broken. So we already have broken units in this game. There's already power creeping. So I don't think that's really an excuse. And then if you think, well, not every character should be meta, I'm not asking for meta because there are characters like Pepper, there are characters like Eleg, my beautiful wife, is a perfect example. She is not broken by any means, but she has a great kit good utilization for other teams, and a great belly. So what can I say? She's not broken, but she's great. And I think more units should be like her, so they can have a place so you can at least be able to utilize them. Because as it stands right now, Clay's pretty much unusable. There is no point in using her. Unless you're willing to accept the fact that you're losing out on, like, everything. Using her. Then go for it. Other than that, though, you know, that's just, you know, just a little rant, I guess. I just wanted to talk about, like, some disappointment I have with her. Because I think Clay looks great. But just as a kid, it just sucks, man. It's unfortunate. It is what it is, though. We'll have to see in the future, right? But for now, let's just go look at team comms. Now, you know, your ideal burst 1, you would probably want to use Freema if you had that treasure, because it would utilize Clay's true damage more. But we don't have that right now, so that's not really on the table. So you would end up probably... I honestly feel like D-Killer Wife would be the best bet to put in, because Laplace, I believe if we go take a quick look at Laplace in her burst 3, if we actually go look at her her burst, it does have piercing, which D-Killer Wife does help with. So it would be great to utilize her with. Not only that, so she can actually take advantage of D-Killer Wife and Clay. Unfortunately, I don't have D-Killer Wife. So honestly, my picks right here are going to be flexes. So, you know, litter, volume, whatever, the usual. I definitely think D-Killer Wife is probably the best bet in this situation, though. So just keep that in mind. Now, for a burst 2, though, I think there are only 2 options, in my opinion, that can, like, really work here for the team that I'm creating here. And that's going to be Rem and E-Leg. Now, E-Leg's already going to be iffy, and I know a lot of people have questions about that, but just hang on and stay with me for a second. So for Rem, it really makes sense, because with Rem, her skill 2, she's already a good healer, but her skill 2 helps her so much, because when entering battle, affects self and 2 rocket launcher wielding ally units with the highest attack. Remember, 2 rocket launcher wielding allies. So it's going to be Laplace. And for what I'm going to use for a burst 3, me personally, I'm going to use Scarlet Black Shadow. So she will be able to heal both of them. Not only that, but in her burst, all the allies with a rocket launcher get their attack going up and max ammo going up, which is really useful to them. So I think Rem has a good place here. That being said, though, I don't have her fully invested. I'd really want a higher investment for Rem. I just don't, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. For the other character, because I already mentioned that I would be using Scarlet Black Shadow, then I think we're going to be looking at E-Leg here. And no bias or anything, I swear. No bias, but... No, I'm serious, though. The reason why is because since Clay is really only helping, you know, Laplace, you might as well just have another burst, too, that can just at least help Scarlet Black Shadow. So in this case, you would want to do this distributed damage dealt with her burst. And it works out because if you have Clay bursting first, she'll help Laplace. And if you have E-Leg bursting second, then you'll be helping Scarlet Black Shadow. So it'll really help. Those are really the only 2 characters that I can think of, honestly. And Rem makes more sense than E-Leg. But at the same time, like, I don't know, man. It is what it is. They're both, like... We only have Laplace here, so you might as well have someone to try to help her out. Or you could put in Red Hood to get that damage from D-Killer Wife, you know. And then just have like a flex burst 2, whatever you want, honestly. She's not really has any synergy with Bae, so I don't really recommend that. So those are my picks. And then as I kept mentioning earlier, for burst 3, I definitely think Laplace and Scarlet Black Shadow are the way to go. Now, if you don't have Laplace, I don't know what to tell you, because then you shouldn't be using Clay, because Clay's not worth using on anybody else. And I know that's kind of mean to say, but it's true, because she's really the only one that could try to take advantage of that, unfortunately. So for a second burst 2, I'd recommend maybe Scarlet Black Shadow to use with Rem or E-Leg. Or if you don't have them, then put in either Alice or Red Hood, so at least they can take advantage of D-Killer Wife. And if you don't, just honestly, it's just a flex at this point, just because there's not much that can be utilized other than Laplace for Clay. So it's kind of just flex for there. So those are my opinions for a little team building that you can do. Other than that, though, you know, it's kind of limited. And then as for an actual, like, shooting test, let's go ahead and go to the Union shooting range. And we're only going to just focus on bosses. I'm not really interested in trying to do ads or anything like that. I just feel like it's kind of a waste of time. So first things first is we're actually going to be testing with Rem. That being said, though, Your mileage may vary based on your results if you decide to also do some testing yourself with the characters I suggested, because you might have different investments, and those investments will have different outcomes. So for instance, when we do this, you're obviously going to see that my Rem is not doing as much for the team as my E-Leg will for my Scarlet Black Shadow. But if you have a really good invested Rem, you're going to see more results than maybe if you have a less invested E-Leg. You know what I mean? Okay. So with all that out the way, let's get started and let's go talk about some skills in the shooting range. And obviously the only person that's really going to see any investment in this fire one specifically is going to be Rem. So we don't have to really worry about seeing any bias with the attack for the character that we want to look at. Because we're only here for pretty much Laplace. But let's just get this started and get a good look. And for Clay, I mean, like, look, the fan service is fantastic, but I just wish her skills, man, just got a little bit. But right here, when we go look at her, let's go look at Laplace real quick. And as you can see, we already are seeing that she's getting that immunity debuff and the go-go victory, which increases true damage. So she's getting that stuff, so that's good at least. But then she's also getting like the HP from Rem and stuff, which is nice to see. So it is what it is, but realistically, there's no point in looking at anybody else because we're really only trying to focus here for Laplace and Clay. So as much as I really want to talk about it more, I mean, the only Gia I can really talk about with Rem is that, like, when we go look at Laplace and stuff, is that, like, we can see that she's getting, like, the No Mercy from Rem, which is, like, a good tack boost, and the, like, you know, the ammo buff as well. And Scarlet Black Shadow is also going to be getting that, so it's not really a surprise. But other than that, though, we don't really see anything else, and that's really unfortunate. That's why this is going to just be kind of a quick shooting range, just because I don't want to bore you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get to a minute 30, and then we'll see where the damage goes from there, and then I'll come back. So I'll be right back. Alright, so we're starting to get to the end of it here. We're about to hit the 1 minute 30 mark, and someone just burst, so, you know, we're just going to pause it right now and get a good idea. So right here, we have 65 million damage for Laplace, and Scarlet Black Shadow's at 100 and pretty much almost 160 million. So we're just going to go from there and just kind of leave it. Obviously, we're not really looking at Clay's damage. She's not going to do much as a support SMG. So it is what it is. We're just really looking at Laplace getting that extra support. And, you know, she's obviously getting some of those buffs, but it's just, like, not a lot. Because it would be more interesting if we had more DPS that took that true damage, but it is what it is. We can't really do much good testing here, especially in this type of shooting range, to get a better idea. So it is what it is. So we're going to leave the shooting range real quick, and we're just going to do a quick test with E-Leg and just kind of go from there. Honestly, this part's kind of like minute because you don't really even have to worry about it, but I just want to show you that, like, there are flexes that you can use as an additional unit in this team, because obviously we're mostly here for Clay and Laplace, but unfortunately, you know, the way it is, we can't really do much. So, you know, I'm just kind of just trying to show some examples. So that's the thing. So right now they're already getting that, but what I want to show the difference for is that when we burst with E-Leg, Scarlet Black Shadow is going to burst right after. So we're going to see a lot of differences for that damage for Scarlet Black Shadow. So it's going to pop off in a second when Litter bursts. So right there, we go look at Scarlet Black Shadow, and we can see that she is actually getting the Boom install, which increases her distributed damage by 28%. So that's really, really cool. So that's going to help her a lot, but obviously it's only going to really help Scarlet Black Shadow and not really help anybody else. So that's why I think Rem is the preferred option here, because at least she's helping both. It's just that mine isn't more invested, you know what I mean? But just like before, you know, I'm just going to quickly cut to the end because I'm not going to bore you guys with this, so I'll be right back. Alright, so we're getting to the end of it here, and obviously we're about to see someone be able to get at least one more burst off, but that'll be it, honestly. So we're at the minute 30 now, so now we can get a good look. And obviously, right here, we can kind of tell that Scarlet Black Shadow got more out of it, so it's better, honestly, to use Rem here, because at least she gets more out of it with Laplace. So, in this case, since we're not trying to balance stuff out here with Scarlet Black Shadow, you're probably better off using Rem, like I mentioned earlier. And I need to invest in her more, so I actually do plan to do that. But it's just kind of unfortunate that there's not much wiggle room here that I can do with talking about in the shooting range. So that's why I think Rem is the best one, but I really just wanted to put E-Leg here as just like a, I don't know, as like a random one, because I know not everybody has a limited time unit, so, you know, it is what it is. But other than that, though, there's not really much else to talk about with her, because we really don't have many other units to talk about. So that's just kind of it. I think she's alright, but she's probably going to be I wouldn't be surprised if she's like on the same page as like Aid. And I know this one's kind of a bit of a long one, but I just wanted to like talk about it for a little bit just because it's kind of sad to see. But it is what it is. I hope you guys have a lovely day, a lovely night wherever you're from. And once again, thank you guys so much for letting us hit 800 subs. That's really, really crazy. So thank you for choosing to support me. That means a lot to me. So as always, stay tuned for the next one and hope you have fun with this event. Take care.